They almost didn't collide. One step slower, one glance in another direction, and they would have passed each other forever. But in that crowded underground station, surrounded by hundreds of strangers rushing home, their shoulders touched. Her papers slipped from her hands. He bent down to help. Their hands almost met. They froze, their eyes locked, and something inside both of them hesitated. It wasn't surprise, it wasn't attraction, it was recognition, the kind that doesn't explain itself. "I'm sorry," he said. "So am I," she replied. They smiled politely, carefully. They gathered the papers in silence. And when they stood, neither of them moved away right away. The crowd rushed around them, but they stayed, as if stepping back meant losing something they hadn't named yet. When they finally walked away, both felt the same strange tightening in the chest, as if something unfinished had just begun. He didn't expect to see her again, but 3 days later, she was there. Same platform, same hour, same pale coat. She stood near the edge, staring into the dark tunnel. He almost didn't speak. He wasn't that kind of man, but something inside him refused to stay quiet. "Are you always this brave?" he asked. She startled, then smiled. "Only when I forget to be afraid." They talked about small things, the cold, the city, the delays. But when her train arrived, she hesitated before stepping in. And when the doors closed, he felt like he was watching something leave that he wasn't done with. They met again, then again. Sometimes by chance, sometimes because one of them waited. Platforms became cafes, mornings became evenings. They never said, "Let's meet." They simply did, as if their days were quietly rearranging themselves. She laughed easily, but not deeply. He noticed how she never spoke about her past, never about family, never about where she came from. He didn't ask, because he didn't want to answer those questions either. What grew between them wasn't slow. It arrived, sudden, intense. The kind of connection that doesn't knock. It enters. They began walking together at night, through streets lit in soft gold, along the river, past shops closing their doors. They shared small stories, safe ones, coffee preferences, favorite books, cities they dreamed of. And sometimes when silence fell, it didn't feel empty. It felt heavy, as if both of them were standing in rooms they weren't ready to open. One night, she asked quietly, "Do you believe people can be tied together before they ever meet?" He smiled. "No. I think we just turn coincidence into meaning." She looked away. "I think some people don't meet," she said. "They return." He laughed. She didn't. After that night, she began to pull away. Her messages grew shorter. Sometimes she disappeared for days, and when she returned, she looked like someone who had been fighting herself. One evening, he found her alone at their cafe. Her tea was cold. She didn't smile. "Did I do something wrong?" he asked gently. She stared at him for a long time, then shook her head. "If you knew who I am," she whispered, "you wouldn't be here." She stood, apologized, and walked away. He didn't sleep. The unease wouldn't settle. It wasn't rejection. It was warning. He searched, not for her, for the feeling she had awakened. And eventually, he found it. An old article, a winter accident, a photograph, her face. And below it, the name of the woman he had lost, the woman he was supposed to marry. She had been there, not as the cause, but as the stranger who tried to save her, who held her hand, who stayed, who watched her die, and disappeared. Suddenly, every silence made sense. He found her 2 days later, sitting in the rain, on the same street where they once laughed. She didn't deny it. She closed her eyes. I'm sorry. She told him everything. How she never forgot that night. How she promised herself she would never go near him. How she failed. I don't deserve to be someone you love, she whispered. For a long moment he said nothing. Then he told her the truth, that after that night he stopped living, that he existed, but never returned. And you, he said softly, are the first person who made me feel without pain. You didn't take something from me, you brought me back. She cried. He stepped closer, held her face. You don't get to decide what my heart does. Weeks later, they met again. Not by accident, by choice. They walked the same streets, but lighter. She laughed again, without fear. They didn't erase the past, they let it exist, without ruling them. The story doesn't end with certainty. It ends with movement, with hands intertwined, with two people who understood that love doesn't replace what was lost. It releases us from living there.